You wouldn't want a doctor working on you to fix an organ issue if they weren't a specialist in that, right? They've taken the time to understand that internal component so that it can be fixed. There's a process of learning that has to occur. They don't find it on the outside. It's an internal knowingness they have to know deep down to understand how that thing works. Otherwise, no healing can occur. You have to do that same thing for yourself. You have to be that chakral physician. I think that's a good word for it. And say, okay, how do I find that balance? How do I get my body back into the balance? It's this big unit of stuff all working together, but something's out of whack. Something energetically is not there. What it is in my life. How do you identify the illness? Doctors will go through and they say, okay, like what are the things that cause the illness? Where is this disease stemming from? You need to start asking yourself those same questions. What am I attaching my identity to? Where do I have these fears? Why do I feel like I have to fulfill a sexual desire 24/7? Like where are these things coming from? Unless
you know, bro.
I figured that's I might as well just
to the root of it all.
Yeah.
It all goes back to sex.
Jason brought this show up because this is something he wanted to unpack on the air.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. So I wanted to look at this chakra, the sacral chakra, the orange one, reverse engineer that one. And what did Ross say would kind of be the opposite of that? Like, what does perfect balance look like in this chakra? Because that kind of gives us an aim point.
So what did you find out for perfect balance?
We experience joy, pleasure, and creativity in healthy ways. We have strong emotional intelligence and can connect with others easily. There's a passion and an enjoyment of life.
Well, you can't do that. If you're fearful of the world and others, you can't connect with them. So the obvious is clear. I need to go. I need to be truthful. I need to engage with them in a state of love, try and understand them for who they are as best I can, and establish a relationship, not out of need for survival,
right,
but out of something that says this is what helps us all evolve. It's not just like I need to be with Jason because I need something from him.
Right. It's a state of love that everybody has that misconstrued so much. Like a state of love would be maybe going to your son who's an addict and be like, I'm cutting you off. Like I'm giving you money and you're using it for drugs. Or you need to get out of the house. You keep stealing from me.
Because you know those money,
right.
You don't actually understand. By cutting
it's not loving them.
No, that's hurting them more. So by cutting it off is actually a state of helping. That's where you're finding that love itself.
That's why I like with Jesus is a perfect. He kind of played this role of balance where he went into the temples, with the big whip and whipped the religious people out of there and threw the tables over and the money exchange.
Flipped them over.
And then you have that Jesus, and then you have a Jesus that, is willing to be a martyr, so it's that balance. It's the shadow. It's the understanding. And the next episode, we're going to get into this with Billy Meyer, where he talks about the shadow, understanding that those two things have to be balanced. And in spirituality, we have a problem with not wanting to go there.
A lot of people avoid it. They avoid that.
It can't be balanced.
You can't understand your chakras. You can't understand the self if you don't understand that there has to be a negative aspect.